"You're not welcome this Easter," my mom murmured under her breath. "All right then," I said, calmly pulling out my phone. "But don't count on that $9,900 anymore." And with a few swipes, I cut the power, water, and internet at their place. "Don't come inside." That was the first thing out of her mouth when she opened the door. No hug, no warmth, not even a forced smile. No, "Happy Easter, sweetheart." Just 3 cold words that hit harder than a slap. I just stood there on the front step, holding a bottle of wine in one hand and a basket of handmade chocolate eggs in the other. I even wore that light blue shirt she used to love, the one she always said made my eyes pop. She'd say it with a proud smile, like it meant something. But today, she couldn't even look me in the face. "What?" I asked, blinking, trying to process. "You serious?" She glanced over her shoulder, then stepped out and quietly pulled the door almost shut behind her, just a tiny crack left open. Like I was some kind of stranger. Or worse, a danger. "It's better if you didn't come in today," she whispered. The words chilled me. I'd just driven 3 hours to get there. "I know," she said softly, "but things are kind of tense." "Tense?" I asked. "Emily said she wouldn't show up if you were here." "Of course." Emily. Why was I not surprised? She was always at the root of this kind of thing. Right then, I heard laughter spilling from inside. The clinking of wine glasses. Then someone, probably Uncle James, laughing and saying, "Cheers to real family being together." And her voice followed. Emily's sugary, fake happy voice. Honestly, this year just feels so calm. No bad vibes. No drama. I wanted to explode. But I didn't. I kept it together. Instead, I smiled, the kind of smile that says, "You really don't know what's coming, do you?" "You know what?" I said, pulling out my phone again. "Enjoy your peaceful little Easter. But don't expect another cent from me." Her face shifted, confused, like the words didn't land right. "What money?" she asked, slowly. I met her eyes. "The electricity. The water. The internet. All the bills I've been covering every single month. The stuff you said you needed help with, just until Dad gets back on his feet. They're all in my name," I added. And I just shut them off. Her mouth opened like she wanted to say something, then closed again. She went pale. "You didn't. Please tell me you didn't." I tilted my phone toward her. "See this app? One press." I held my thumb to the screen. Boom. Lights out. From inside, Emily screamed, "The Wi-Fi's out." What just happened? My mom lunged toward the phone, but I stepped back. "Happy Easter," I said, and I turned around and walked calmly back to my car. No one followed me. No one tried to explain or apologize. As I sat behind the wheel, I saw Emily appear in the doorway, standing behind Mom, face flushed red and waving her phone in the air. "Are you insane? We were just about to eat." I rolled down the window and called out, "Call your real family. Maybe they'll cover the bills next month." Then I drove off. No guilt. No hesitation. That moment right there, that was when I stopped being their personal utility company and finally became the ghost they couldn't use anymore. For years, I told myself I was helping. That I was the responsible one. That family meant sacrifice. I told myself a lot of lies. Like the time Dad called me right in the middle of a work meeting. "Power's about to get shut off," he said, like it was just another Monday. "What? Again?" I whispered, stepping out into the hallway. "Just a couple days," he said. "If you can spot it, I'll send it back by Friday." He never did. And like always, I paid anyway. It became a pattern. My family was great at taking without asking. And me? I was great at letting them. When Dad lost his job 3 years ago, I stepped in to keep the lights on. When Mom wanted a dental procedure, nothing urgent, but she said her smile embarrassed her, I paid for it. When Emily couldn't renew her car lease, I co-signed a new one and covered the first 6 months. At first, it felt good. I liked being the guy they could count on. The one who had it all together. But over time, that appreciation, it turned into expectation. Then entitlement. And eventually, straight-up resentment. You're so lucky you don't have kids, Emily would say at dinner. All that money's just yours. Must be nice. You mean the money I've been using to pay your bills? I snapped once. Oh, please, she scoffed. Don't act like you're doing us favors. You just like feeling superior. Emily didn't mean it that way, Mom cut in, trying to smooth it over. No, I did, Emily said, grinning like it was some kind of joke. You think we should kiss your feet because you cover a couple bills? A couple bills. Let's break that down. Water, $84 a month. Electricity, $220. Internet, $90. Then there were the extras, streaming services, phone plans, random Amazon stuff I didn't even recognize anymore. I stopped tracking it all. But when I checked my bank app last month, I saw the total, $9,900 in the last year alone. And still, to them, I was the bitter, selfish brother who never smiled in photos. The worst part? I wasn't even shocked anymore. A few weeks back, I stopped by unannounced to drop off some groceries. Heard voices from the kitchen. Laughter. He's so uptight, Emily said. You'd think paying a few bills made him king of the world. He's probably just lonely, Dad added. He works too much, Mom said. All that money and no one to spend it on. At least he's good for something, Emily chimed in. I'd cry if I had to pay for my own internet. They all laughed. I stood frozen there on the porch, grocery bags still in my hands. No one noticed me. I turned around and left without saying a word. Later that night, I canceled the autopay on their Netflix and Disney Plus accounts. The next day, Emily texted, "Did the Wi-Fi glitch or did you forget to pay again?" I didn't even bother replying. But the real final straw came about 2 months ago. I was logging into my bank account to transfer money and noticed something strange. A bunch of Apple Pay charges I didn't recognize. A brand new MacBook. Some wellness retreat. Subscriptions. Designer labels. All charged to the emergency credit card I once gave my mom, for actual emergencies. I called her right away. Did you buy a MacBook? Oh, that was for Emily, she said, like it was nothing. She needed it for work. And the retreat? She's been going through a tough time. Crying every night, she said, all soft and pitiful. With my money. She paused for a beat. You make more than the rest of us combined, she said gently. It's not like you're struggling. I didn't even bother replying. I hung up. For days, I wrestled with it. Should I bring it up? Should I let it go? Then I remembered something Emily said last Thanksgiving. We all have our roles, she declared. Mine's being fabulous. Yours is paying for the turkey. She laughed. Everyone laughed. I forced a grin and bit my tongue. But now, just thinking about a turkey made me want to scream. Easter was supposed to be that one time a year where we all pretended to care. I took time off work, bought gifts for the kids, even made brunch reservations. I was trying. Then, a week before Easter, Mom texted me, "Hey sweetie, can you make sure the utilities are taken care of before the weekend? Emily's throwing an egg hunt at the house." I didn't reply. But I paid. $386 to keep everything running. And what did I get in return? Nothing. Not even a thank you. Then Easter rolled around. I showed up, wine in one hand, chocolates in the other, and they slammed the door in my face. You're not welcome this Easter, my mom told me flat out. And Emily made sure I heard her too. Honestly, it just feels nicer without all the moody energy, she said from inside. Let's keep it cheerful this year. They wanted light. Fine. I gave them darkness. No electricity. No water. No internet. I sat in my car and watched as the house slowly powered down. The porch light blinked off. The sprinklers stopped mid-cycle. 5 minutes later, Emily exploded through the front door, phone in hand like it was a weapon. What did you do? She yelled. I rolled down the window. Have a happy Easter, I said. Just the way you wanted. Without me. Then I drove away, and for the first time, I understood something clearly. Sometimes the only way to heal is to let go. Completely. I hadn't even gotten home yet when the calls started. First Mom. Then Dad. Then Emily. Over and over. Again. Again. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing, it was vibrating so hard it almost slid off the passenger seat. I ignored every one of them. Until a message came in from Dad that made me laugh out loud. You're being dramatic. Come back and fix this. Fix this? What, their Wi-Fi? The plumbing? Or the illusion of a functioning family? No thanks. 2 hours later, they were on my doorstep. I heard the knock. I didn't move. Let them sit with it. Let them stew in it for once. Then came the shouting. You're seriously ignoring your own mother on Easter, someone screamed. Open this door right now or we're calling the police. That was Emily. This is abuse, she shouted, louder this time. I opened the door just as Emily raised her hand to pound on it again. She nearly stumbled inside. Come in, I said flatly. But if any of you raise your voice, I'm calling the cops myself. They stormed in like a hurricane. Mom sobbing. Dad pacing. Emily absolutely losing it. You think this is funny? She yelled. We had guests over. Children. Do you know how hard it is to explain to a 5-year-old why the toilet won't flush? Yeah, I said, dropping into a chair. Tell them Aunt Emily and Uncle Dad expect me to fund their lives. Boom. Silence. Mom gasped. Emily stared at me, wide-eyed. Dad's fists clenched. How dare you speak to your family like that, my mom snapped. Family? I raised an eyebrow. You mean the same family that told me not to come over because I'd ruin the vibe? The same one that laughs behind my back and treats me like an ATM? That family? Dad stepped closer. You're overreacting. No, I said calmly. I'm done reacting. This is me acting. Emily crossed her arms, full of attitude. So what? You think cutting off the utilities makes you powerful? Nope, I said. It makes me free. She rolled her eyes. You're being ridiculous. You've always had that I'm smarter than everyone complex. Oh, you mean that complex where I paid $9,900 last year to keep you warm, connected, and manicured? I snapped. The money that covered your heating bill, your Zoom therapy, your new iPhone, and that business trip to Paris that was actually a spa week in Palm Springs? She froze. Face drained of color. You went through my stuff. You used my credit card for the plane ticket, I said. I get the monthly statements, genius. Dad jumped in, trying to shift gears. All right, look. We've made some mistakes. Mistakes? I cut in. Dad, you looked me in the eye and said I didn't belong at the table. That Emily deserved the help more, because she had a future. I was angry, he said quietly. No, I replied. You were honest. For once. Mom reached toward me. Sweetheart, come on. We're family. Can't we just reset? Undo this? No, I said, cold and firm. Because it wasn't just today you pushed me out. It started years ago. You were happy to take what I gave, but the moment I stopped, suddenly I'm the bad guy. Emily was shaking now. Her rage had gone quiet. You'll regret this, she hissed. Cutting us off won't make you feel better. You'll end up alone. Good, I said. Alone is better than bleeding out for people who smile to your face and stab you in the back the second you walk away. Silence. Thick, electric silence. The kind that hums in your ears. I stood up. Here's what's going to happen, I said, voice calm but steady. You're going to find a new way to pay for your utilities. You're going to transfer the car lease off my name within 30 days. And you're going to stop using my Netflix, my Spotify, and my Amazon Prime. If you don't, I'll lock it all down. For good. You wouldn't, Dad said, jaw tightening. Try me, I replied. And Mom, if you ever try to guilt-trip me again with, you're our son, just remember this, sons deserve love, not invoices. She started to cry. Dad looked away. Emily. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the picture frame on my wall tilted sideways. And I didn't care. I didn't follow her. Didn't explain. Didn't fix anything. For the first time in my life, I didn't try to make it better. I just closed the door. Locked it behind them. And exhaled. The war was over. And I'd finally won. The silence that followed was unreal. No calls. No texts. No sudden knocks on the door. It was like they'd collectively decided I no longer existed. And honestly, it felt amazing. For the first time in years, I woke up without that dull pressure in my chest, the one that whispered, "What will they need from you today?" No more checking my bank app to see if I could cover their latest emergency. No more being left on read in family group chats while they laughed at memes. No more holidays where I gave expensive gifts and got socks in return. I was free. And the quiet? The quiet was beautiful. I started sleeping better. Eating better. Living better. I bought a cheap second-hand guitar and taught myself some chords. Reconnected with old college friends I hadn't seen in years. Signed up for a photography class, just because I could. Because I had the time, the energy, and, for once, the space to exist. Every cent I earned finally went towards something that mattered. My rent. My groceries. My future. At first, it felt selfish. Then it felt fair. Then it felt right. About a week later, Emily posted a long Instagram story rant. Black background. White text. Classic passive-aggressive drama dump. Some people will leave you when you need them most. But God sees everything. And karma is real. I didn't reply. But I screenshotted it, for the laughs. A few days later, Dad called. I stared at the screen. Ringing. 5 times. Then voicemail. Hey. Your mom's upset. Emily's talking about selling her car. I don't know why you're doing this, but it's gone too far. We're family. Call us. I didn't call. Instead, I emailed Emily the lease transfer forms. Deadline, 14 days. Subject line, you're welcome. And then came the real surprise. Linda, my cousin's wife, messaged me. She'd been at the Easter gathering, standing quietly in the background while Emily cursed and Mom clutched her pearls like I'd committed a felony. Her message came late one night. I know this might be weird, but I just wanted to say thank you. I've never seen anyone in this family stand up for themselves like that. It made me realize a lot. You didn't deserve what they did to you. I hope you're okay. I just stared at her message for a while. Someone saw it. Someone finally saw me. I wrote back. I'm better than okay. For the first time in a long time. But of course, peace never lasts forever in my family. 2 weeks later, I came home and found a letter taped to my apartment door. No return address. Handwritten. First line, we raised you better than this. Last line, you'll always be our son, even if you've forgotten what that means. I folded it in half. Tossed it in the trash. Then went out for tacos. Because here's what they'll never understand. I didn't forget what family means. They never knew. They thought love meant control. That money equaled obedience. That silence meant agreement. That self-sacrifice was proof of loyalty. But me? I finally knew better. Now, I walk into my apartment and it's quiet. Not because I'm unwanted, but because I want the quiet. I light a candle. Put on music. Sit by the window. And breathe. No one's waiting for me to fail. No one's asking for a wire transfer. And for the first time in forever, I don't feel like the backup plan in someone else's story. I feel like the main character in mine. And you know what's wild? The world didn't end. The day I told my family I was done, the sky didn't split open. No thunder. No lightning bolts of regret. Just silence. And freedom. For someone like me, someone who spent his whole life playing the good son. That silence was everything. It wasn't empty. It was peaceful. It wasn't lonely. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that gives your own voice space to return. Because for years, I couldn't even hear mine anymore. Every morning, I'd wake up calculating who I needed to save that day. Mom needed $310 for, just a temporary, gas bill. Emily's account was frozen again, and she couldn't miss the concert. Dad's credit card was late and might affect his score, could I help just this once? Every time I said yes, I shrank a little. They didn't ask. They expected. They didn't thank. They demanded. They joked. They didn't see me. They used me. And I let them. Because I thought that was what love was supposed to feel like, suffocating. I thought being needed was the same thing as being wanted. But it's not. Being used is not the same thing as being loved. It took one slammed door and a disconnected power line for me to finally understand that. After Easter, the messages stopped. No more threats. No more pleas. No more guilt bombs with bows on top. It was like I died. And they were too polite to say it. But being ghosted? That gave me the clearest view of my own life I'd ever had. I started asking myself questions no one ever let me ask before. What do I want? Who am I outside of them? What happens if I stop being their lifeline? And you know what I found? Breath. Space. Joy. I learned how to cook for myself, real meals, not just cereal and shame. I joined a Saturday jam session at a local music spot. I started writing, short stories, poetry, heck, even this. Turns out, there's a whole person underneath all that guilt. Then one evening, weeks after the fallout, I ran into someone at a bookstore. Mary. A girl I knew from college. She looked different. Happier. Lighter. We got coffee. Talked for hours. And at one point, she asked. Are you still close with your family? I paused. Then I said it, really said it, for the first time, without flinching. No. I cut them off. She blinked. Then smiled. Good. I laughed. I wasn't expecting that. Most people just look at me like I confessed to murder. She shrugged. Most people don't know what it's like to be the family doormat. That night, walking home, I realized something. I wasn't broken anymore. I was rebuilding. From the ground up. Without them. And that was okay. Weeks turned into months. I stopped jumping every time my phone rang. Stopped staring at my bank account in fear. Stopped refreshing Emily's socials waiting for the next passive-aggressive jab. And one day, someone sent me a meme. I laughed. Really laughed. And it hit me like a wave. Holy hell. I'm happy. Not because anything amazing happened. But because nothing was draining me anymore. Because, for the first time in forever, I wasn't someone else's crutch. I was just, me. Alive. Awake. Untangled. Then came the twist. A voicemail. From Mom. Her voice was soft. Shaky. Almost fragile. Hi, sweetheart. I hope you're okay. Emily's been going through a hard time. The house has been different without you. I know you're angry. I know we messed up. But you're still our son. We love you. I miss you. I listened to it twice. And for the first time, I didn't cry. I didn't feel pulled back in. I didn't feel guilt. Or rage. I just felt, done. And that feeling? It wasn't cold. It was warm. Like standing in the sun after years in the shade. Here's what I know now. Saying no doesn't make you cruel. Setting boundaries doesn't make you heartless. And walking away from toxic people, even if they're blood, isn't betrayal. It's survival. And yeah, maybe my name's a curse word at their dinner table now. Maybe they twist the story. Make me the villain. The ungrateful. The cold-hearted. Let them. They're not in my life anymore. And my life? It's finally mine. So if you're reading this, and you're tired of being the one who always gives, always forgives, always sacrifices while they laugh behind your back. Let me be your proof. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to choose you. And if they ever say you're not welcome, you say, good. I didn't come here to be welcome. I came to stop bleeding. Then stand tall. Walk out the door. And never look back. Because peace isn't a place they give you. It's the place you reclaim when you finally say, enough.